I come from an era when trains was quite in, actually, for kids to be interested. Sadly, no longer the case, I have to say. So to be doing a job now where when I started sitting on the railway station at York watching trains coming through and playing with my train set, to be in a place where we're buying locomotives, where we're buying wagons, where we're employing people, and where we're expanding what was always a contracting industry when I worked within British Railways is just great.
John came into railways because of a passion for them when he was young. Mine, complete stumble. Had no intention. Before that, I was a builder. I used to make lorries, things like that, and this was really a stopgap for me. It was like, wow, what do you want to do that for? They're weird people like trains.
There's a lot of gricers, as we call them. They love trains, they love every bit. Me, no thank you. I come to work, I play with trains, I go home, I go and play golf.
I think GB Railfreight thrives on passion, individualism, all the sort of things you look for in a friend.
It's a people business, and our ethos is to drive people to do a good job day in and day out, to make them feel included.
Over the last 12 years, we've literally gone from a start-up business to what will hopefully be in the next couple of years a £100 million business.
When we started GB Railfreight, I was very keen to start the whole thing with a blank sheet of paper. We were very much looking at the people that we employed, and I wanted to start a company where communication was key, trust and empowerment was key, and that we looked to get people into the business who matched those qualities. So it was really about creating something different. We got our first customer, which was Railtrack, as was now Network Rail, and I guess that was how the whole thing started.
We were looking for the introduction of a new player in the freight haulage market. We'd had a big contract at the time with EWS, one of their current competitors. We had a contract we just developed with Freightliner Heavy Haul, but both were traditional hauliers, so we were looking to introduce somebody completely new and fresh. We met John, and I was extremely impressed by John and his attitude and his willingness to have a go at this. So that's effectively how we first met.
Had no freight infrastructure, we had no depots, and we had no people. So there was a huge need to build up trust, and I had to build up his trust in what we could do. He equally took a huge risk in us in giving us the contract. But Railtrack was a very big business at that time, still is as Network Rail, and consequently their support of us and that initial contract was hugely important for our ability to raise the finance we needed to buy equipment.
Our guys have to work 24/7, 7 days a week. It is full on, it does not stop, and to thrive in that market, which so many of our people do, it's hugely rewarding, challenging, but also the people that do it are just that bit different, you know, and they have to be.
My average day could be anything. You can go to Immingham, West Burton, Thoresby, all round this area really. You can be doing coal, gypsum, there's different ways you can go to Immingham. You know, 2 days, they're never the same. The high points of my job is just looking out of my office window and seeing all this. You know, it's always different. If you're running late and you manage to make your time up and get there, and you know, they're happy that they've got there because they're changing shift. And if you'd have been late, you know, you end up waiting 2 or 3 hours. So if I can get there on time, I'm happy. Or if I can make some time up on the job, I'm happy.
The train manager is hugely important to GB Railfreight. He often works in isolation, interfacing with our customers on a day-to-day basis. So his ability to put things right when they may be going wrong is hugely important, and his willingness to do that is absolutely key.
The train manager concept, I think it's fair to say, outside of GB Railfreight, there was possibly a lack of understanding of what that meant. Train drivers drive trains, that's what they do outside of our company. So to actually get into a place where you can have a far more of an understanding of what it is that's important about what you do is something that was unique to GB Railfreight.
The lads are willing to stick their neck out and go that little bit further. I'll just help out when they can, come in early if they need to come in early, or see the job through.
Train managers and ourselves, we speak all the time. Our relationships are that we ask them a number of times to do things for us above and beyond, and they do. Yeah, that's the only other way, that's the only other way to do it. Thanks Mark, all the best, thanks for your help. Tell mate. I work in Peterborough, the control centre here. My jobs are varied, but most of my work contains running GB Railfreight services, trying to make sure they run to time, people booking on, booking off for work. Just the whole scenario of the business itself runs from this particular office. It can be very intense, it can be extremely intense, but the majority of the time, because we're used to these particular incidents, we have a fair idea what to do. We work with all the big companies of Network Rail, and we do sort out these problems as soon as we possibly can. Thanks very much indeed. Cheers, Al. Ta-ta. At times you can come out of here feeling though you have been battered and you haven't made a difference. And other times you can walk out on top of the world thinking, did a good job today.
I work at the port of Felixstowe. It's the largest deep sea container port in the UK. There are 29 rail paths into and out of the port of Felixstowe daily, of which GB now have 6. On a day-to-day basis, we're responsible for managing the containers from the quayside to the train side, and then from the train side to the quayside.
I've just been preparing this train. It's head code Echo 33. It's going to Doncaster. They've just finished completing the load, and I've just walked the train, making a note of all the box numbers, all the weights, and checking to make sure everything's safely and securely loaded. We work in close conjunction with the Port of Felixstowe. Either one on their own would be no good, so you have to work together as a big team. There's a lot of correspondence, a lot of talking to each other, a lot of helping each other out. Sometimes we fall short, sometimes they fall short. Sometimes you get days where everything works perfectly and we all work in harmony, which is what we aim for most of the time.
If we have a full train, a chock-a-block train, going out of the port of Felixstowe, I still like to get in my car and go watch that train depart Felixstowe and have that feeling that we did that.
In my role, I probably spend 3 days a week out on the roads. And one of the key things of that is actually nurturing relationships, visiting clients. That can be a combination of visits to their headquarters, or it could be a visit to a colliery, it could be a visit to a power station, all sorts of locations which are associated with the customer. I think in the business that GBRf operate in, it's vital that we have relationships with people, because it's all about the relationships and the interface with people. One of the areas that is very important with the growth of GB Railfreight over the last few years, and as we continue to grow, is to make sure that we're not complacent, because one thing we can't do is go out and look for new business and take our eye off the day-to-day customers. It's imperative that we make sure that we still deliver today's customers, which are the people that's got us to this position in the first place, and that we keep those relationships and make sure that service is not disadvantaged at all by bringing on new flows. Drax Power Station is actually the biggest power station in Europe, and on a good day when all the units are all burning, they actually produce about 7% of the electricity requirement of the UK.
The relationship between Drax and GB Railfreight began in 2006 when the station was predominantly burning coal. We introduced GB Railfreight as a third supplier. We found they were a very innovative and creative supplier, keen to adapt and change, and as a consequence of that they ended up doing our biomass business as well, and that's where the relationship is today. It's growing in biomass and they still do a large proportion of our coal volume. I think one of the reasons why we have worked with GBRf in developing biomass is they are innovative and they are creative. They do work with us and they're prepared with us to take business risk, and that's what they've done with biomass, and that's helped us move our business forward.
Eurotunnel bought us 18 months ago, and it's been a hugely important step for GB Railfreight in that they see this business as strategically important to what Eurotunnel does. Eurotunnel owns freight operations in France. It obviously operates the Channel Tunnel. Buying us links the two up and looks at an opportunity to grow freight through the Channel Tunnel. Eurotunnel, as well as seeing us as strategically important, is keen to invest in what we do, and we've seen that over the past year, whereby we've bought, albeit second-hand, locomotives for cash, and it's been great for me in as much as the support is allowing me to look at new opportunities for the business to develop.
GBRF's new contract with SSI involves taking over the rail operations at Redcar and Lackenby, moving the molten iron from the blast furnace over to produce steel in the Boss plant. It includes the renewal of the tracks, the repair of the wagons, introduction of 8 new locomotives, and plus the 40 new staff on the operations side.
We needed a workforce, and the time scale was really tight, and we'd never done anything like this in our life. We'd never won a contract like this in our life. This was totally new to GBRF. The skill set wasn't available to us. We knew very early on we were going to have to take people off the street from different grades and train them.
We've got joiners, we've got electricians, we've got bookkeepers, very wide and varied, but the one thing they've all got in common is they've all got a willingness to work.
When I started working here, I was working in a shop. Actually, I was working in W.H. Smith's, selling newspapers and magazines, really. Not a lot of career prospects.
One of our trainees here, Matthew Bird, he's come from working in a retailer's, W.H. Smith's. He's well educated, he's got a degree, but he's really shown a great aptitude for this. He's picking things up really, really quickly, and we're very, very pleased with his progress so far.
Well, the blast furnace is about to come back online on here. It means that this site's going to be up and running again. Everything that we've been training for the last couple of months, it's going to start moving properly. I mean, we're going to be moving 36 torpedo wagons down here every day, and 10,000 tonnes of steel when it's completed down to the docks. So it's going to be busy, it's going to be all hands on deck, and I can't wait really, it's going to be amazing.
It's a real excitement now. It's like a racecourse trainer waiting for Cheltenham. You know, everybody's raring to go, we're in the paddocks and we're ready to go.
It's provided a host of new jobs as well in the local area, not just from the likes of me and everyone who started on this site, but all around the local area. It's been brilliant.
There's a real strong future. They've all got a good work ethic, they're all bonding well as a team, and they're all really picking up and really excited about this, so I think there's a lot of potential here in the future. Whilst the growth in GB Railfreight is hugely welcome and encouraged, and we will continue to look for it, it does bring with it some problems in the way that we like to do our business. When we go back to that, we believe passionately that our staff are our key selling point. and the values that we have in managing our staff are very much based around communication, visibility, trust, those sort of things.
It's about visibility of both of the directors, but also those that are directly managing people out in the field.
I would say the GB Railfreight management are very approachable. Whenever you meet one, whether it be at work or at a social function, they're always very sociable, they're always open to suggestions, you can talk to them, you know. They're not like gods where you tremble in their wake.
Maintaining that connection is going to be key. It's very obvious that you go around the country and you see people that are proud to work for GB Railfreight. Without that, we sink back to being just another run-of-the-mill haulier, and that just cannot be allowed to happen.
The company going forward is about more of the same. The market we're in, we're still only 10% of the UK rail freight market, so there's still plenty to go at. But actually the investment and the cash that Eurotunnel can offer us leads to a number of other opportunities which we're examining, some of them even beyond rail. So consequently I see the next 10 years as being really quite exciting.
When I do presentations to people and I put growth charts on and it's with every range, so with it people, within its services, within revenue, within profit, it's very much a 45-degree line. And that's the way it's set to continue. I'm very confident that what's coming up over the next couple of years is very much there for GB Railfreight to take advantage of.
I'm really excited about my future now. I've got a proper career, I've got proper prospects. And with GB Railfreight, there's no telling where I can go, really.
My future is 5 years down the line, and Des is off to live in the sunshine. That's the answer to that one.
My best day was when we decided that we were going to resurrect an old railway tradition of naming locomotives after football clubs. Sunderland was the first one that we did. A fantastic sunny day like today. We did it down at Tyne Dock. We got about 4 of the 1973 Cup final team along. And I just found that day just fantastic. I didn't think it could possibly be bettered.
I think it's fair to say GB Railfreight does exist as a replacement for a successful football team. Yeah, I think if Sunderland had won things, if John had had to go into Europe and things like that, then he wouldn't have had time to build such a successful business. So there is an association between the failure of Sunderland Football Club and the growth of GB Railfreight.